Hi, I'm Trista Engel, CEO of Paragon Legal, and welcome to GC Sidebar, a short and sharp conversation series with today's most forward-thinking general counsel. In just 4 questions, we cover the legal industry, leadership, careers, and a little fun. Today, I'm joined by Ron Bell, Chief Legal and Administrative Officer at Collective Health, a company that helps employers simplify and personalize the way they offer health benefits through a single integrated platform, making healthcare less confusing and more human. Ron began his legal career as a litigator in Chicago before transitioning to in-house roles at Apple and Yahoo. He spent 18 years at Yahoo, serving in various legal capacities and ultimately stepping into his first general counsel role in 2012. He joined Collective Health as CLO in 2017. Ron's impressive legal career has been driven by his ability to create opportunities for himself that excite him, all of which seem to have been successful, except for an early aspiration to be a Supreme Court reporter. Ron, I'm excited to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
What's the biggest challenge facing GCs and in-house legal teams today?
The biggest challenge facing GCs and in-house legal teams is easy. It's complexity, right? It's complexity and ambiguity. But in the last 10 years, between the pandemic and global expansion, changes in privacy law, introduction of AI, right? All the electoral conflict, shifts in the federal government, it's never been harder to be a lawyer. And it's definitely never been harder to be a GC because you're trying to advise businesses on what to do when even the authorities and the people in charge often disagree with each other. So a big part of being a GC these days is not just issue spotting or laying out what the law is, it's being a navigator of ambiguity and helping to lead across functions, sometimes across borders, and really trying to isolate what are the long-term risks and what are the challenges for the business and how can I advise you at a time when different GCs might give a different answer, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's a great point. In a profession that often looks to precedent, we are, as they say, living in unprecedented times, and to your point, have been for what feels like many years now. So it requires some, the ability to be nimble and adapt.
100%.
What's the most valuable lesson you've learned as a GC?
The most valuable lesson, honestly, is you don't have to win every battle. You just have to know which battles matter. I often bring the framework if I'm talking to someone or if the business is wrestling with someone. If this goes wrong, would it make for a good plot in a Tolstoy novel? Because if it would, it actually matters and it really requires the time. And if it's just one of the things where like, well, so-and-so would be upset or, we might not, make as much money by a small amount or something like that, it's maybe something we can let go if we have to. Obviously, you want to address all the issues if you can. You want to be responsible. You want to be thoughtful. But you always have to bring that frame. Like, does this matter? Is it going to move the business forward? Is it really a matter of actual legal compliance? Is it business essential? It's better to just keep coming back and keep calibrating and really asking what is what I'm going to do something that's going to make a difference in a month, in 2 months, in a year, in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a great point. And going back to your point about complexity, what comes with that is the need for prioritization.
Right.
What's the best career advice you've received or given?
Don't confuse control with leadership and don't confuse leadership with authority. They're all different, right? The best leaders that I know, whether they're GCs or otherwise, don't cling to having to be the one to decide everything or to do everything. They empower, they delegate, they hire people, they coach, even when that's messy, even when they might be able to do it themselves, initially at least, faster, because they know that over time, if you're the smartest person in the room or the busiest person in the room, you're probably doing someone else's job and you're robbing them and the company of the opportunity for growth and a chance to really make a difference. The leadership isn't authority part is not about the fact that as leaders, we can't make decisions for our function. Of course, that's part of what we have to do, right? That's part of the authority. But it's also recognizing that what matters is to think about who are all the stakeholders in this situation, right? And learning who they are, the board, the CEO, the executive team, the investors, the regulators, whoever they are, and relating the decisions to an understanding of what each of them would prioritize, what each of them would want to know, what each of them would want you to be doing in that moment, and then synthesizing that for the team and trying to come up with a course of action.
I love that. I love both of those points and how you put them together. And it makes me think of, one of the hardest transitions from becoming an individual contributor to a leader and someone with authority, but also then learning how to get buy-in for the things that you're trying to enact, which is leadership rather than the authority piece, to your point.
Right. The sooner you learn that, I think the more impactful and sustainable your career becomes, because you become more than a single contributor.
If you could write a law that all companies had to follow, what would it be?
If I could write a law that all companies had to follow, I would be a great proponent of the Universal Reply All Prevention Act of 2025, which basically says any email you send to more than 15 people has to have a warning when you hit reply all that pops up, and it's persistent. It's like those blinking ads that never goes away. And you have to really decide whether you really want to reply all, because every time you do that, you're taking up a whole bunch of people's time and space, and it's really important to be selective in a world where everything is competing for their attention.
I would vote in favor of that law. I love it. And even if it were fewer than 15, there was a pop-up for every person that said, does this person really need to be on this email? Does this person really need to be on this email? All right. And the bonus question, who is your favorite fictional lawyer?
I'll give you two. The first one is an easy one, which is Atticus Finch. And I love Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird because he's ethical, principled, takes on tough cases, speaks truth to power, manages to be a great parent and advisor while being a lawyer. So he creates space for other things, and he's fearless. My second, for almost the same reason, would be My Cousin Vinny from the movie, because it's easy when Joe Pesci is running around doing a Joe Pesci thing, like and doing the voice, like to forget that this character, while comical, is also super methodical, investigates everything, measures everything, maps out a game plan, puts Marissa Tomei on the stand. She rocks it, right? He uses expert witnesses really well. Great on the cross-ex. He really is a very effective advocate, despite the fact that he's a bit goofy, and it's intended to be a bit goofy, right? And I love that because, in a way, it makes the law accessible. And so I love both those characters for slightly different reasons, but they're both very effective at what they do. They take on unpopular and difficult cases, and they win, which is always nice.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about Atticus Finch and My Cousin Vinny in the same breath, but I love the thread and I buy it. Good answers.
Oh.
All right. Thank you, Ron. That was really fun. I really appreciate you joining me and sharing your thoughtful answers.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That's a wrap on today's episode of GC Sidebar. Catch more great conversations on our website at paragonlegal.com. Thanks for tuning in.